I need to clear something up about bell numbers in Vincent Bach, because a lot of people think that there is something significant about the number, that maybe they go in sequence, like 43, a 37, a 43, a 72. But what Vincent Bach did was he actually developed many different bells with different tapers. And he just randomly assigned a number. So the very first bell that he developed was basically a copy of a French Besson at the time, back in the early 1900s. And he called that the T bell, which became the number 1 bell, right? And then he developed another bell taper. He called that the number 2. And then he developed another, he called it the number 3. So it's just a sequential order of when he developed and how he developed these bell tapers. Now, every bell number has a different set of measurements, from the small end of the bell tail down to the bell flare. And so every bell number has a different set of dimensions. And so if you look at our standard bells that we use most often today, we use a number 1 bell on a commercial trumpet today. That's what we're using on a 190. We also use the 37, and that's probably our most popular bell for all around playing. It's just a great bell, for great sound for pretty much any style of playing. All right. Then we have the 43. Now the 43 bell taper, compared to a 37, it has a slower rate of taper. So it is smaller in here. So it stays more narrow longer and comes out. And when a taper stays more narrow, it tends to be a little brighter and a little bit more resistance. So a 43 bell is going to sound a little brighter than a 37. So if you're a player that naturally has a very dark tone and you want to have a little bit more sparkle, you may really want to look at a 43 bell, because it has a little brighter sound with a slower rate of taper. Then you look at our 72 bell, another very popular bell. That actually has a faster rate of taper than the 37. So it comes out faster. And the opposite is true. When it comes out faster, the sound becomes warmer and darker. So a 72 bell is going to be a little warmer and darker than a 37. Our largest bell taper that we have in our current portfolio is the 65 bell. And that comes out and is much wider in the bell throat here. And so that is a very dark instrument that gives you a really velvety sound that's just a beautiful, warm, round sound to it. So every bell number will have a different sound characteristic, okay? The bell numbers that we use for the 180 series and the 190 series are the exact same taper. Now, what's different about them, in some cases, is the weight of the bell. So in the 180 series, most or all of those series have what we call a standard weight bell material. So in inches, it starts at a thickness of about 0.023 inches, all right? Now, when you start looking at 190s, we use on many models what we call a Mount Vernon weight. And the Mount Vernon weight is a little bit thinner. Instead of being 0.023, it's 0.020. So it's only 0.003 of an inch thinner, but it does make a difference. So it's a little bit lighter in the bell. Also, on every professional instrument we make, we have a soldered bell wire, but we have many different types of materials. So some trumpets have round brass, some have round steel, some have flat brass for French style beads, some have flat steel. We have one that uses a half dome, which is flat on the bottom, half round on top, brass. And then in the new C trumpets like this one, we have a round stainless steel we're using now. Every one of those wires produces a little bit different color in the sound of that instrument. And we just didn't randomly pick it. We experimented with every one of those materials to find out which one was the best for each one of these models. So that's how we came up with the configuration of the bells. But you can do a lot to change the sound and the character of the instrument by going with a different bell number and a different series because of the weight.